Hey, what's up, guys? It's your boy DJ Smos Def. It's the end of the year, so I'm doing a best of K-pop 2020. Before I get into that, you can find more of my stuff, my K-pop DJ updates on Instagram at DJ Smos Def. And of course, make sure to follow my YouTube channel. And most of my mixes you can find on twitch.tv/Smosuf. All right, so yeah, this year was challenging. Most idol groups and labels couldn't go on tour because of the pandemic. So a lot more comebacks. A lot of groups had maybe two comebacks this year, maybe more. If Twice had of course, their full length album. They had their mini album More and More. And if you don't count if you count their Japanese singles and comebacks, they put out four comebacks. They put out four comebacks this year, maybe five with Cry For Me, which is kind of a surprise comeback at the end when they performed that song at 2020 Mama. But before I get into my top 10, I'm gonna talk about honorable mentions, and I want to start with debut groups. A lot of great debut groups this year. aespa with Black Mamba, Secret Number, Treasure, the YG boy group that came from the reality survival program. Gravity, another boy group. Enhypen from Big Hit. Stacy, one of my favorites. Weekly, I think is going to take the top reigns as successor to Twice. They're just like, that cute concept teen girl color pop aesthetic. They nailed it down to a T. Even though Niziu, which I followed through the Nizi project, the JYP survival program, which you can hear all the fireworks in the background, which came to put together a 9-girl group similar to Twice, but all foreign. They're all Japanese. I guess foreign to Korea. One half Japanese, half American. I think there's like two other girls that are like quarter American, but that's here nor there. But yeah, Weekly I think is the better like Twice successor, even though they're not even JYP. And JYP modeled Niziu to be like the next Twice. I just think I'll get into more of that in my top 10 when I mention one of the songs. But Weekly, I think, deserves a special mention. It's probably my favorite new girl group, and I have a bias towards girl groups. I'm an older K-pop fan, but so not a lot of my favorite groups are going to be boy groups, with the exception of like BTS, obviously, and if you want to go further back, Big Bang. Yeah, so my criteria is pretty simple. Charting hits, obviously, earworms, the listenability, like how many times I'll play it, I'll stream it on YouTube, and how many times I'll play it back, repeatability, all that good stuff, and pretty simple. Catchiness, how catchy it is. That's what I meant by earworm. It's what they call it in the K-pop industry. I'm paraphrasing there. I mentioned Stacy is one of my favorite girl groups this year that debuted, because they're produced by, I think managed by even Black Eyed Pilsung, the famous producing duo that made a lot of hits for Twice and various others, GOT7, A-Pink, Miss A, lots of others I can't think of right now, but I wrote a piece on that on my blog. You guys should check it out. Top K-pop producers, where I mentioned, JY Park, Teddy Park, P-Dog, Collapsodome, and of course my favorite that I wanted to showcase was Black Eyed Pilsung. They got a very great collection of songs, and I even have a YouTube playlist there in chronological order. So I have a very particular thing for chronology in YouTube playlists. I hate playlists where it goes from new to old. It's like, what's the point of that? I don't want to hear from new to old. It's backwards. I want to hear from old to new. So I'm kind of rambling here. So all right, let's get right into. Other girls I wanted to mention: Woo Ah, Bad Girl, and Secret Number, Got That Boom. Great debuts there, and I have those in my year-end 2020 K-pop mix. It's up on my Twitch. So it's about a 45 minute mix of about like 32 songs, all 2020 K-pop songs, girl groups, boy groups. So check that out. A lot of songs on my list are on there. So let's get right into the top 10 K-pop songs of 2020. All right, for my number 10, it's 1 Billion Views by EXO SC. It's a subunit of EXO. I don't even know who is in that. I don't even know the members of EXO. I think there's like 12 members in there, so it's really hard for a new member to remember all those names. But I really like 1 Billion Views because it's kickstarted a trend this year of kind of like a disco funk retro concept that everyone just, not even in K-pop, but in pop music in general, from Doja Cat to Dua Lipa to The Weeknd. The Weeknd's always been kind of retro, so, but they pretty much, I don't want to say they kickstarted it, but they kickstarted the trend of all the like famous groups that started to do like a disco retro theme this year. It came out in July 2020, so from my list, it's one of the first ones this year that came out, and it's really catchy. The video is really colorful and bright and memeable and really just eye popping. I really like it. So number 9 is When We Disco by JY Park and Sunmi. It's a duet. I remember when I first saw it, I was just like, oh, when I heard, because I'm a huge like JYP stan. I like all of the groups basically. I love Stray Kids to GOT7 to Twice to ITZY and NiziU, their new group. So I follow them regularly. Subscribe to their YouTube channel. I like their page on Facebook, so I'm up to date with other stuff. So when I heard that JY Park is doing a comeback before ITZY this year, ITZY's second comeback this year, I was like, why are you that much of an attention whore? Like, why are you coming out with something this year? And I've always kind of written him off as like a joke. He's always kind of making fun of himself, and he's always the punchline in his videos, and he's always kind of silly. So, and his songs aren't that catchy to me. However, When We Disco just took me by surprise. It's a great nostalgic song, great melody, great synths, great just concept, like the story of rekindling a lost love, missed opportunity, and the video is just a great little concept video, almost Saturday Night Fever. He mentions, and Pulp Fiction are his inspirations, and just a great overall choreo, simple choreo, very TikTokable for older people like including myself. So JY Park and Sunmi, JY Park, I really wanted it to be like Song of the Year or Best Collaboration, but I believe like IU and Suga of BTS ended up winning the Best Collab this year at MAMA. So, but it's still culturally relevant and deserves a spot on my list. Number 9. All right, number 8, La Di Da by Everglow, another retro comeback this year, very 80s synthy. I liked their last comeback this year, Dun Dun, and I liked Adios, and all of their like comebacks and their singles are very catchy. So Everglow is one of my favorite underrated groups, girl groups. They don't get a lot of fanfare like Twice or Blackpink, but they're up there for me. They have a lot of catchy, exceptional songs. So that's La Di Da by Everglow, number 8. Number 7 is Make You Happy by NiziU, a song that just, it's in the title, it makes you happy. Something that we sorely needed this year. A great healing, happy, super happy song. Color pop is what JYP calls the genre of music that he created with Twice. So NiziU, Make You Happy. Technically, it's not a K-pop song, it's J-pop because they're a Japanese girl group. But they did make a Korean version, so I guess technically you could call that K-pop, whatever. I don't know what the... but yeah, I wanted to mention... I mentioned this earlier in the show, but Weekly, I believe, is the better successor to Twice. They had 2 comebacks this year, Tag Me and Zigzag. And I believe those 2 songs... there was not that big of a drop in quality from Zigzag to Tag Me, or from Tag Me to Zigzag. So Weekly seems to be a more consistent in quality girl group as successor to Twice. Whereas Needs You, Make You Happy was fantastic. It's a song I play over and over, and it just gets stuck in your head. However, their second comeback this year, Step and a Step, they mentioned Make You Happy isn't technically their debut comeback. It's their pre-debut comeback. So Step and a Step is their official debut comeback, and it's not that great. I listened to it like one time. What's going on there, JYP? Like, step it up. Step and a Step, step it up. See what I did there? All right, so number 6, Backdoor by Stray Kids. This is a great hard-hitting, got a funky bass line track, a lot of energy, very aggressive. And they came back with something earlier this year, God's Menu, which was also hard-hitting and just very aggressive and energetic. So I was expecting something different, and they came back with something a little more diverse and very catchy at the same time. So and Backdoor had a great cameo with the Needs You girls in there. People are sleeping on Stray Kids. They're very underrated. JYP seems to not promote his boy groups as much as his girl groups. I'm looking at You Got 7. So Got 7's just immensely talented as well, and JYP just does not promote them. So I'd like to see him do something different with Stray Kids. All right, so number 5, kind of low on my list, but it snuck into the top 5. So that's Dynamite by BTS. They say, I have a lot of trivia on here. I'll just stick to like maybe 1 or 2, but they said that they wouldn't have made the song if they were on tour. So it was just by dumb luck that they created this song. I believe had some American writers that wrote the song, so it wasn't actually, theirs. But they brought it alive. So, but little backstory: got a little sick of BTS this year. I really started standing them last year with their Map of the Soul persona, with Boy with Love, and their whole, and got back into Love Yourself, and just a little bit of oversaturation for me. I listened to them too much last year, and like anything, you listen to them too much, you're gonna get sick of it. So just for me, just BTS fatigue. I still love them. I still love their overall message. How they just promote and inspire positivity and love, and with their platform, they reach millions, if not billions of viewers and listeners and their fan base. So for them to just promote positivity and love and healing is just fantastic, and always got to have a BTS song on my top 10 list. All right, so number 4 is Lovesick Girls by Blackpink. Interesting that I didn't put How You Like That, but I thought How You Like That was fine. It was a fine little down-tempo trap beat, and it was catchy and very prototypical of Teddy Park production. However, it was a year too late. That whole album, their album, feels like all the musical trends of 2019, and it feels like Teddy Park has been sitting on these tracks for like years, if not months, if not years. So it feels like Blackpink, the album, and How You Like That is a bit late as far as the musical trends. This year was all about upbeat, retro, disco, funk, synthesizers, and it doesn't mean that they have to follow suit, but at the same time, their album just does not feel relevant right now. But Lovesick Girls is the exception. I love the kind of guitar-driven, kind of whistle-esque musical variations of it. I don't know how to really describe that, but I think it's low-key a masterpiece. Lovesick Girls is really good. It should have got more exposure with, I think they only won on KBS competition shows and SBS, maybe NBC. For some reason, YG and Blackpink does not have a good relationship with Mnet, so no Mama performance this year. No end of the year shows at all. for Blackpink, which is really odd. You know, you see all these big names come up. You know, Twice, Blackpink, ITZY, GOT7, EXO. I don't know if EXO did anything, but you know, all the big names that are top billed, and then you expect Blackpink to be up there, and they're just nowhere to be found. So that's very strange. I don't know what YG is doing with them right now. I think they're maybe just sitting on their tracks and their live performances for their exclusive online show that was supposed to be at the end of December, but it's going to be end up being in January because of all the COVID-19 protocols. But I don't know what they're doing. YG's just messing up Blackpink right now. All right, number 3 is I Can't Stop Me by Twice. Just another great disco retro track this year, written by JYP. More and More was okay. It was kind of like a spiritual sequel to Dance the Night Away, kind of like a summer song. And I didn't like it at first, but after, I'm talking about more and more. But upon re-listen, really dug the kind of tropical beat vibe to it, and got a great dance break in there. It's a Momo era right there. So I Can't Stop Me though, kind of the thematic sequel to More and More. It's like if More and More was the temptation, I Can't Stop Me is them crossing the line. And then I believe it's a 3-part concept with Cry For Me, because Cry For Me is like just them being dark, you know, just succumbing to their temptation and their darkness and their duality. So really great concept work by Twice this year. And they're, I guess if you want to call it, like 3 comebacks, 3 major Korean comebacks, 2.5 if you want to call, you know, put an asterisk near Cry For Me, because they didn't really have an MV. So I Can't Stop Me is just fantastic. Twice is my all-time bias. I stand them so hard this year. I'm so glad I started. I mean, I was a casual fan from I believe Fancy and Feel Special last year. I was a huge fan of Blackpink last year. I didn't stand them because I think their personalities aren't that great, and their fan base is kind of toxic. To me, I kept comparing them, and I was like, Twice, their songs weren't that exceptional. And they had a lot of songs and albums, but it seems like they just put out songs to put out songs. But this year, I think the YouTube documentary in April got me completely into them, and that's great promotion right there, JYP, you know. So he made them relevant. He said, hey, stand these girls this year with the YouTube documentary. I think it was like a 9-parter or something like that, and right before More and More. So it's a great year to stand Twice. They had 3 comebacks, like I said, if you want to count their Japanese albums, 5 with Fanfare and Better. So that's number 3 for me, I Can't Stop Me. Number 2, kind of unusual, but I went with Wannabe by ITZY. I think ITZY is the better girl crush group right now compared to Blackpink, especially because, you know, again, JYP does a better job of promoting their girl groups, and I love all of the members. Ryujin is my favorite. It's Ryujin's era with Wannabe, and it's a great concept. It's a great message. You know, you want to be yourself, almost like the BTS Love Yourself concept theme, where, you know, you just accept yourself, just be yourself. And a very catchy song. I think it's a much catchier song than Not Shy. But I believe Not Shy had the better video, obviously, the Western. When I saw the teaser for that, I was like, oh man, this is going to be great. You know, my expectations were so high, and then I saw the video and I heard the song. I'm like, really? Not Shy's not that great. It's Not Shy, not great. But Wannabe, yeah, it's fantastic. I love that song so much. Part of my K-pop 2020 mix, so check that out. One of the opening tracks. Number 1 is Mago by GFriend. Again, unusual choice for me because I think GFriend isn't that great. I went back and listened to their other comebacks from this year and last after I heard Mago, and I was like expecting more of the same. Mago's so great, and like, they have to be great. Like, how did I not know about this group? And then all their other comebacks before this were just mediocre. So Mago is just a kind of like a rare gem of theirs, I guess. Bang, Hitman Bang, I forgot his full name, but the founder and CEO of Big Hit co-wrote this song, and it's easy to forget that he was a songwriter back in the day with JYP. They tried to form a label in the States, in New York, and they failed, and they came back to South Korea and became moguls. So obviously Bang and JYP have retro roots, funk and disco, 80s synth kind of vibe. But the reason I chose this as number one, because yeah, it's such a striking song, so catchy, so obviously the retro vibes, but it's surprisingly dark. Like the chords are kind of low, and it's got like a Giorgio Moroder kind of 80s synthesizer sound to it. So for K-pop girl groups, that's unusual. It's very out of the ordinary. So extraordinary, if you want to call it. And it took me by surprise and kind of blew my mind. Like when I saw the video too, the video is just fantastically produced, great concept, great visuals, and Yuna's like one of the prettiest girls I've ever seen. Obviously my bias. So Mago took me by surprise, and again, it continues the trend of this disco revival, this disco retro concept that we've been seeing all year, and I think that was by no mistake. I think musical artists this year wanted to provide a spring of hope. Disco is a traditionally happy genre, so I think artists took that into account and did that deliberately, and just brought about this disco revival. So that's my top 10. Let me know what you guys think is your top 10. What's your number one? If you disagree with my list at all, let me know, and make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram at DJSmosDef. If you want to hear my mixes, check me out on twitch.tv/Smosef. And check out my blog, where you guys with my DJ mixes as well, K-pop related articles. That's at DJ Smosdef. Oh, sorry, it's smosdef.blogspot.com. And thank you guys for watching. See you next time.